And I'm Egypt.
And I'm Imani.
What are we talking about today, ladies?
Spill it tea. Spill it tea.
Say it louder.
We're going to talk about Kanye.
What about Kanye? What he do now?
That's the problem. It's always a what did he do now?
Yeah, it's like that's the trend. Like as soon as you, and it's so sad because, I mean, college dropout. Like I miss that Kanye. I miss when at that time you hear Kanye's name, you be like, oh, who's featuring him? Like, what album is he on?
Real Kanye.
Real Kanye. Now you hear his name, it's like, who he cursed out now? Who did he offend?
What he get into?
How anti-Black does he sound today?
How anti-Black does he sound today? I mean, the Harriet Tubman, like, really? Like, it was laughable. Like, it's not funny. But
it's not.
It's not funny. It's like, for real, it's offensive.
It's offensive. It's like the stuff this man comes up with. Like, you gotta laugh to keep from being upset.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, that's really what it comes down to. Is like, I'm just gonna laugh because I know he can't be for real.
He can't. Like, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes things be so, like, just in general, like, racist or so stupid that it's just like, this is how you think. And, like, where did you even get this from? Like,
right. But what?
Go ahead, Egypt.
What he do now?
I think it started all with Kanye deciding. I can't remember what came first. Him saying he was running for president or the Harriet Tubman comments.
It was the running for president, and then at his speech conference, whatever you want to call it, his rally. Then he said the comments about Harriet Tubman.
Okay. Yeah. So it's that, and then after that, him running for president, which is in itself questionable. After supporting Trump, he denounced Trump after going so hard for him, and then at his rallies, he was just being really frenzied and inappropriate, which we'll get into that in a minute. And then after that, it came the tweet. So that's Kanye in a nutshell, 2020.
Right.
Kanye 2020.
Yep, 2020. It's just, and so a couple of years ago, I wrote a status on Facebook when it came out, when he said that he was bipolar and things like that. I wrote and I said, please do not make Kanye West the face of mental health in 2019. And I said it because, I'm always glad when someone is bringing awareness to a mental health issue. I'm glad, but Kanye is not the person to do it because he is not consistent with his treatment. Mm-hmm. He's not. He's not consistent with his treatment at all. So he was in rehab, and now at the end of this, it seemed like he checked himself into rehab again. Which
rehab for what?
He was having a breakdown the other day. Okay. Or he was in some facility, and don't get me wrong, that is what a normal person would look like, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just not. When you're in a public space, you have to be careful of what you're promoting and how you're promoting it, especially when you're not adding any context to it. You're just like, yeah, I'm bipolar, and then you see him doing all this stuff, and everybody's like, oh, he's bipolar. No, there's plenty of fully functioning
layers
diagnosed with bipolar. So no, just
it's layered. And then it also makes me question too, to be honest with you. When you're a celebrity, you have access to people who are yes men. I mean, we've seen that with Michael Jackson, rest in peace. The reason why he passed away is because a doctor was trying to please him and overprescribe him a medication just because he asked for it. Yep. And so I'm not a mental health professional in any way. I have experience with being around people with different levels of mental health, but sometimes I question when people or celebrities come out with certain diagnoses. Not all of them, and it's not my place to challenge people on them. If that's your truth, that's your truth. But I also know that celebrities have people that will just diagnose them with things. And my problem is Kanye a narcissist sometimes? And is that the behavior we're seeing projected, or is it really a result of him being bipolar? Mm. And did a doctor just give him the diagnosis of you're bipolar? Instead of really observing like this man is maybe a narcissist, because that's the behavior he displays behaviors of narcissism. He really does. So that's where I feel about Kanye. And I know that he does have some level of mental health that he needs to get in shape, but
it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
I feel like he uses the people, not even him, but people use the bipolar label as an excuse for his behavior, and he's not the poster child for people. And then be like, "This is what mental illness looks like."
It sure does
not. It doesn't. Not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
Especially people without money. They don't get away with saying stuff like this and doing stuff like this.
Got it.
And so it definitely makes me wonder, like, when are we gonna say it's his narcissism versus? Because when he got up on there and interrupted Taylor Swift, was that him being bipolar?
No, that was straight up narcissism.
Like, man.
So I think like, you know, because for a long time, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, I gave him a pass because his mom died.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I gave him a pass. Say it again, Agent.
I said everybody gave him a pass, but how many times is he gonna keep doing things over and over? Oh, he's that. Like, after a certain point, you know what you're doing.
Right. Like, I had given him the pass for his mom passing away because it was so sudden and, you know, the way that things happened. But I think, like, because I am a mental health professional, like, plug, you know, but I think in that, I want to say that the death of his mom may have sparked his bipolar. Like, at least the depression part and the highs and the lows, and, like, you know, we've watched him deteriorate since then. Yeah. So, you know, and then on top of that, maybe the narcissism, especially because Kanye is like, he, not by me, but he's considered a GOAT. You know, like, his music, some people he could say, and people are like, oh my gosh, great. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The shoe label, him owning like his masters, like certain things like that. Like, he's really excelled in his career. So yeah, that narcissism is going to come in like, yes, me, you know? Exactly. So I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I think the parts where he's taking, you know, Black history and making comments about slavery and Harriet Tubman, that ain't no bipolar.
I don't think that's bipolar either.
That's not the bipolar. The bipolar is what is like the highs and the manic, and when we see him when he was crying and
paranoid about people.
Yes, like that part. We probably see like 85% narcissism.
I really feel that way. And then what bothers me more is not even just him, it's social media. Because people, it's like we just want to give him a pass for everything. So one minute when Kanye's acting out, he's a genius. Y'all just don't get him. He knows too much.
Oh my, nope.
The next minute, this bipolar looks like. It's like anytime he does anything, when he stood with Trump, when he said slavery was a choice, anything this man does, we have an excuse for. Mm-hmm. And it's always a different one. It's not even consistent. Because wasn't nobody screaming that bipolar stuff when he was saying them other comments? But now it's like, oh, we landed. Before it was he's a genius. Before it's his mother died. It's like we always finding something else to make an excuse for this man. And we don't give the same grace to a lot of other people. But for some reason, we're giving it to Kanye, who has been more than offensive.
More than disrespectful.
And disrespectful to many communities, including ours. So.
Especially. So.
It's. I view him like, I don't want to say a god, but like a higher power kind of figure.
He's a god.
They do. And you know, the whole, like, and again, when we talk about like his music, I loved Kanye's music up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
But I was never really comfortable with Jesus Walks. Mm-hmm. I wasn't. Like, I really, you know, I love the lyrical genius of it, but the concept of it, I was not comfortable with.
Yeah, I feel you.
So since then, and then Yeezus, and then this and that, so it's like that part is all of that narcissism.
Yeah, the Yeezus, you're putting yourself in the place of Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you see, I don't know if y'all saw in the Shade Room when they posted it, they were saying tweet like you're in the Bible, and they said when Moses came off the mountain, the man was standing there like this. That's how I'm feeling. I'm looking like, y'all like worshiping him. Y'all didn't learn? Y'all didn't learn from, okay, do you? But don't look at me when it comes time. Please don't look over here.
Yeah, the way you feel about Jesus Walks is the way I feel about the new gospel Kanye, that, you know, and everybody's like, you know, regardless of his politics. And I'm like, no, you can't say regardless, because reality is he's sneaking those messages in music. Lucifer was head of the gospel of the choir ministry in heaven before he became a fallen angel. And we know that if you go to church, they always talk about that when they're trying to get you not to listen to secular music. But
That's right,
I'm gonna listen.
Secular saints is over here. Secular saints is over
Secular
here.
saints. That's so bad. But I feel like, you know, yes, some of his gospel music cranks and it's beautiful, but I'm not gonna lie, it definitely bothers me that it's him. And that's doing it. And I feel like people also are choosy because when R. Kelly happened, everybody was like, no, the music got to be canceled along with the person. How come the same don't apply to Kanye? And I'm not saying he's done as bad as R. Kelly. I'm not saying that. But it opens the conversation of how we're very choosy with the statements we make. We say, cancel R. Kelly music because we canceling R. Kelly. Oh, just because you cancel Kanye and his beliefs don't mean you got to cancel his music, though.
Why not?
Why not? I feel like he's playing on the heartstrings of Black folks. And I feel like he's done a lot of disrespectful things and said things to our community. Like, how you gonna be a Trump supporter but then doing a whole gospel choir? Like, so I'm just not a fan of that.
And speaking of like picking and choosing, that brings us to our next topic, which is Nick Cannon. So I don't, it's funny because we really didn't talk about this before, so I really don't know what everybody thinks. Like, I have no idea what anybody thinks about just the whole situation, like what he said, the backlash, like, so who wants to go first?
Let's go first.
Okay, so I think, what he said is, and you know, what he said it in a poor taste of a way. Like, honestly, I didn't hear all of the audio. I know that he came out and apologized to the Jewish community for the things that he was saying, but a lot of the other things he was saying was, it's like documented. So I don't really know I know where the anger came from, but, just such a like immense backlash. But the part where social media or his fans or whatever you want to call it, like 1 minute it's just like it within like 24 hours the switch was like crazy. So it was like, yeah, support Nick Cannon, don't take Wildin' Out off TV, da. So he didn't apologize, right? He said he wasn't going to apologize. He came out, exposed NBC or whatever the company is, and then not NBC, Viacom, sorry. And then everybody's like, yeah. Then when he apologized, it was like, oh, he this, he that. I was like, hold up. Like, what happened to, and I saw this on Facebook, somebody said when Nipsey died, everybody said, protect Nick Cannon at all costs. What happened?
We stopped protecting at all costs.
I mean, as soon as he
ran out, the bill got too high. I'm just kidding. The bill got too high.
Took Nick Cannon, threw him in the trash, but nobody questioned Kanye.
We love throwing people in the trash. That's
what and to me, Nick Cannon is not. To me, Nick Cannon is not in the trash. Like,
I don't think so neither. Like you, I didn't watch the entire clip, but when I do need to go back and do it. When I did what I did watch initially, before I learned of any anti-Semitic phrases, it sounded like he was saying people back in the day, like back in the day, like I guess Caucasians or white people, they lived like savages or they did barbaric things or they engaged in barbaric behavior. And I'm paraphrasing for what I remember from the clip.
Right.
And when he got canceled for that, I kind of felt like a couple of things. I kind of felt like it was society and the media's way of being like, aha, Black people can be racist too. Because we just came out of this whole, like, the whole world basically being at the feet of Black folks, like literally and figuratively. Like, we're sorry, we humbly, submit to how you feel. Like, that's how white folks was acting in all these companies, and rightfully so.
Black people.
Yeah, I mean, they literally washing our feet in some areas. Like, I literally seen pictures of it. And so, I think that I personally feel like there were some corporations that reluctantly took a stance with Black folks.
Of course.
But in their hearts, they was looking for an opportunity for us to fuck up. And so I feel like this was that opportunity and they just ran with it. I honestly feel like if Black Lives Matter wasn't what it was right before that moment, you know, Nick Cannon, before this whole recent uprising of Black Lives Matter, he's always been down for the cause and very vocal. I think they use him as an example. And I think, you know, Bill Cosby was wrong, but I think they tried to do a Bill Cosby on him. Like, this Black man is becoming too powerful with his influence.
You can knock him down.
Because not only he's very Black powered, but let's be real, a lot of celebrities like T.I., for example, that are about Black empowerment, they dwell in Black spaces. Mm-hmm. So it's very safe for them. Yeah. But Nick Cannon dwells in white spaces. Like, his spaces are very white. And so for him to be as Black power as he's been, he's very risky. And so this was the opportunity to snatch everything from him.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
What did his apology say?
I don't know. It was a little long.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the apology. So I didn't read the apology. I read when he said he wasn't apologizing. I don't know. I invested my time in reading that one. That one was spicy. Okay. Yeah. I read that whole thing when he was telling Viacom, like, give me back the right. And that's another thing. Oh man, I know he got to be kicking himself for not owning the right to Wild 'N Out. Oh man.
Yeah, you created that show. And I'm very surprised that Nick Cannon he appears to be just a
very business savvy.
Yeah.
He's been in business for years.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by a lot of moguls. And so for you to be, and I think that's sometimes where we missed a little, and I'm not judging Nick Cannon because I don't know the background behind that deal. You know what I mean? And having to get the rights to that show. You know what I mean? Like, probably that industry is very tricky, you know, with the freedom they give you to really create and express. That's just reality of it. And who knows if Wild 'N Out would have been as successful if he would have not had the backing from them, you know, without them owning the rights to it.
Yeah.
Or as successful as fast as it was. But I sometimes feel like that's where we miss the mark, is we get very Black empowered, and sometimes we don't realize, like, we need to empower ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, these are the moments where it's like you created something. That's why I like people like Issa, or when you hear like people like Chance the Rapper, or celebrities who take the harder road just so that they can own their stuff. And I don't know if I'm assuming Issa owns the rights to Insecure. No. But I mean, because she created it from a YouTube show. Mm-hmm. But this is where I'm like, you need to own your stuff. Shouldn't nobody snatch something from you that you've made and put blood, sweat, and tears in? So that's
so many up and coming, like, you know, YouTubers and Instagrammers, literally Instagrammers.
Yeah.
So that's the part that was really, why I was sad to see. Because honestly, when Wild 'N Out first came out, I'm like, this is the most annoying thing I've ever seen. I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. But then when I started seeing like my favorite people on it, like, well, at the time, B. Simone.
At the time.
At the time, B. Simone, I still like B. Simone, but that's another story. Yeah. You know, like, or people that I didn't even really care for. Like, I always want to see my people. Like,
I saw Emmanuel Hudson on there after he
I seen Emmanuel. I was like, oh yeah,
that's dope.
I'm like, this is it. I'm watching this. Because even like, I mean, DC Young Fly has his moments. Like, he's not really like my favorite, but just seeing him on TV, because I'm like, he used to be just somebody who used to come up on the screen talking about bring that ass here, boy, whatever. Yeah. But now he's like on TV. I'm like, oh shoot, like that's what's up, you know?
It's dope.
I loved it. So, you know, and I used to not. And then see now with quarantine and nothing being on TV, that's all they was playing. So now I got to see more of it. I'm like, yes.
I don't know. Do be playing a lot though. I noticed that.
That and ridiculousness on MTV, that's all they play. It's so stupid, but you know, it's just sad. It's just sad. What about you, Egypt? I love it.
I just don't think we give people like enough, I guess, like chances, or think of them as real people. Like, I think it's okay that he apologized. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Like, if I said something back in the day, like the whole fat thing with Moesha, like if I'm calling people fat back in the days, okay, it was wrong. Like, I'm sorry. I did not mean it. I said it in the moment. You was fat, but it was wrong. It was wrong, and I apologize. And it's a sincere genuine apology, and we know what kind of person he is. So I just think that everybody's like just really hard on people these days, and they're not hard on the people that they actually need to be hard
They're
on.
not hard on the right people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really hard on in Nick Cannon. Like Nick Cannon is giving us, I mean, content for real.
Yeah.
That is like never ending. Like, I mean, on Facebook, you know, they have the thing with the videos. It'll be 30-minute clips of one person, you know, of their like jokes or whatever. Kanye is giving us, he gave us very timeless music at one point. Now he's giving us $1,200 shoes. Anybody buying them ugly things? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Keep me on them.
you know,
Album. What's in the another album he was supposed to release? Did he release it?
I don't even
People
know.
think that this breakdown was connected to him trying to promote some music or promote something, and I totally think that about Kanye, but we're off. Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel with Nick, again, I need to rewatch the clip, but first of all, I didn't hear the anti-Semitism in the clip, but maybe I need to watch the entire thing. But when he was, what it sounded like to me, when he was explaining, I mean, let's be real. White folks at one point did engage in what would be considered barbaric behavior. Ironically, because they looked at people of color or anybody who didn't fit their level of respect as barbaric and savages. And so lynching is barbaric. Racism is barbaric. Like, I don't know, it's very barbaric behavior.
That's what I was saying, where things are, some of it is true, but I guess it's the way that I actually had a conversation with somebody who was telling me about, you know, like in history books, you know, people who really study the history of people, like, you know, that is how, that, like you said, like how, you know, white folks used to be. Like, that's what the behaviors that they used to engage in. And even if it's not documented, like you said, we can see it. Like, the way you guys, this is a savage way of thinking. Maybe the word savage is making you uncomfortable, but I mean, right. Listen, we got savages. That's what they used to call Indians. The N-word for everybody who looks like us.
Let's talk about Pocahontas.
Come on now, right? And then we were watching that as kids.
As a social studies, that's the funny part. Is I remember watching in social studies as an educational thing, and you had me watching white folks call Native American people savages, and now you mad because Nick Cannon called y'all savages back? Make it make sense. Make it make sense,
honey. Make it where?
But again, I gotta watch those clips because that's all I remember. But I'm more disappointed with, and again, I keep adding the disclaimer of me maybe possibly not being fully informed when I have my commentary, because you know people love to drag people for that. But I feel like I didn't see a lot of, and this is gonna be helpful for our Ellen conversation. I didn't see a lot of the people from the Wild 'N Out cast standing with Nick Cannon in their post, like in their statement. That bothers me, and it seemed like they were being very neutral because it was almost like we need to figure out if we're gonna still have a job. That's the vibe I got, and I think I saw something where Emmanuel Hudson may have put something out.
He said he was the one with the like, well, I'll see. Basically, like, I'll see what happens. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
People on his show, a lot of the people, I think like Chico, B. Simone for sure, Pretty V, like they were all in their story, like, Nick Cannon, we got you, we're standing behind you, things like that.
The stories expire.
Yeah.
They didn't release an official statement on their page. That I have a problem with that.
I don't like that.
I don't like
that. So, yeah, but and the thing is, Emmanuel Hudson, he's the one who put that on his page. The one about like, oh, well, we'll see what happens. Like,
yeah.
Like, granted, Emmanuel Hudson was kind of popping before Wild 'N Out, but let's not get it twisted. Like, he doesn't have the status now.
He wasn't popping.
I had that status had it not been for Wild 'N Out.
Yeah,
all of them.
He got exposure before Wild 'N Out. He went viral, but Wild 'N Out really, because I remember when I saw him in Wild 'N Out, I was like, oh, where did he go? I remember him from being the She Ratchet boy, and that's all he was known for. Let's be real. That and whatever. I think they did another song that went viral. But either way, something dropped. Something dropped and it scared me. But either way, it's like he did the She Ratchet, and I'm just like,
Questions was popular.
Exactly. So it made you like, Nick Cannon, that gave you a true platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was messed up. So, speaking of talk shows, on to the very current event that is like, you know what? I feel like this topic was like something that was just building and it's now like exploding. This Ellen DeGeneres topic. Like,
hey, I honestly I didn't read up on this yet, so I don't really
Go pick this thing up.
know. Like,
All right.
it's cool. I didn't really read up on it yet, so I don't really know like what's going on. But from my understanding, she's accused of like being racist and having discrimination going on in her studio.
Yeah. So it's like there's claims of discrimination from like past workers and stuff like that. But it's like every day I feel like it's something coming out new, or a new person, or maybe somebody who doesn't want to be identified. But the most recent one, which is like yesterday, was the old DJ when he was like, "Oh, not Twitch. No, it's another DJ. He's black too. He's African American, but he said that he was on the show and he experienced discrimination. But then when I look, he was there for 10 years. So I'm just really like,
but who are they experiencing discrimination from? Ellen?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, if it's from her directly or from her directly and other staff, because it's other staff. I think it is her. I think it's her. I think it's her. This started at the beginning of quarantine. Like, I want to say like back in April, somebody had came out and they were like, Ellen is really nasty. Like, she has a really nasty attitude. Yeah.
Well, I said, oh, y'all, sorry, that was rude.
You're okay.
We'll have to edit that.
Somebody like came out and said that she like had a nasty attitude, and then the next thing I know is like everybody started coming out and talking about it.
But this is like a nasty attitude like to work with, or nasty attitude to work?
I think maybe just outside when the cameras are off, honestly. That's how I'm picturing it.
Who said this?
Somebody came out, like there was somebody, I don't know.
We don't know who it is. We just know.
I don't know exactly who it is, but I remember seeing that like at the beginning of quarantine when she was doing the show from her house. People were saying like she had a nasty attitude, and now all of a sudden it's canceled. Honestly, I believe it. I don't put nothing past nobody.
I gotta see the fact.
You know why I believe it?
For the people, like I could believe that she's like nasty. Like a lot of celebrities are nasty and have attitudes and treat people badly.
Or okay, like they're uptight.
Yeah, but I don't know about racism and discrimination. Like, I need to see the facts before I agree.
Oh boy, here we go.
No, actually, a couple years ago, this is why I love that this Ellen situation came back up, because I remember people coming for me on social media and say that.
What else is new? What else is new?
I be feeling like a prophet sometimes, because the same thing people come for me for end up happening. So, boom. Anyway, I remember posting an article on social media when, I may say his name wrong, so please forgive me. I think you say his name,
Usain Bolt, yeah.
Bolt, yeah.
I knew that's where we were going.
I always say Hussein, and it's because I just feel like the U deserves the H in front of it. It's so natural for me to say Hussein, but Usain, and I'm not making fun of his name, not disrespecting it, but that's just what my mouth wants to do. So I remember when Usain, became, it became a public figure, or became more known because of the Olympics, him being so fat.
It was his second Olympics.
Yes, and so I remember
4 years ago, yep.
And I remember Ellen had made a graphic of her riding on his back, and people were not, happy about it. And actually, somebody came out with an article saying like,
his back.
Yeah, like it's a graphic. It's not really. She did like she had somebody edit her on his back.
At that time, just real quick, like at that time, and I'm not, because I'm still on the fence about that a little bit, but at that time, she was for all of the Olympians, or like whatever was going on at that time, she was editing herself in their pictures.
Yeah.
But for Usain specifically, she, like, it was one, you know, it's a famous picture of him crossing the finish line where he's smiling at the still at the end.
Yeah.
And so when he's like this and, like, you know, hunched
His
over.
back is over.
Yeah, his back is over, like he's running forward. She's like on his back and like smiling at the camera. It's, I'm sorry, but I know it's serious, but you know, she's like back.
But the article was actually not just about that situation. It was saying, like, I'm not surprised that Ellen did this because and it was detailing like a history of Ellen's racist moments. Y'all are a trip.
I'm sorry. That's how she, yeah, what you watch. I'm gonna text it to you afterwards. Like, she's dead like this on his back. Like, okay. Go ahead, Monty.
So, no, you're fine. So, and it was an article detailing, and I remember, like, I had reshared it, and I was like, this is why I've never been, like, a huge fan of Ellen.
I remember this.
Because it's always something, like, coming out about her, and people always want to ignore it because it's like, oh, Ellen's for the people. I'm like, Ellen could be for the people. Well, we'll get into that. But I remember someone in particular, but they shall remain nameless. Like, really, like, people are so sensitive and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, read the article. It's not just talking about this picture. It's talking about the history of Ellen being just really racially insensitive. Mm-hmm. And I think that just because she's a lesbian, it doesn't take away from the fact that she's white with blonde hair and blue eyes. And it's perfectly okay for people to say, you know, this is not a good look. And here's also a history of you doing a lot of things that are just not a good look. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not surprised that it's come out. And it's just so funny because I just remember everybody being like, oh, people being sensitive. It's Ellen. People being sensitive. But now look, 4 years later, there's an article about Ellen being racist to her staff.
Any article.
My case.
Almost daily. Where's the gavel?
I rest my case.
Rest my case. I remember
going to something.
And you know what? Imani actually opened my eyes to it because I really, like, you know, I wasn't watching her show or really knowing anything about her. But I did think, like, some of the images were funny. Like, every day it was like a new image from something that happened the night before, because I'm a very big fan of the Olympics, very upset it's not happening this year, but, like, I will watch it. Like, I'm at work on my phone watching, you know? So I remember that, like, her coming out with those images. But when the Usain one, like, I laughed just like I laughed with the other ones. But Imani, when I saw the article, I didn't think anybody was being sensitive. I think there's a reason for it. And Imani actually educated me about, like, oh, this, and this. And then that's when I started to, like, I'm like, oh, you know, just like you said, Egypt, like, if I did something, you know, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 minutes ago, whatever, and you educate me, tell me, like, girl, what is you doing? Like, no, that's not so right. Because now this 2020 has been a year of apology. Everybody coming out, they taking out this episode of Golden Girls. They doing this, they doing that. So what's the difference? It's like, again, with the picking and choosing. You can't
pick and choose what you want apologies for. And it's like, people fail to realize that Ellen started in the 90s.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Ellen, the reason she became known and famous is because back in the day, she became, you know, it was big that she came out as a lesbian. In the 90s, coming out as a lesbian, I can't remember the year she came out, but I believe it was the 90s. And that's what really, like, propelled her. I mean, I think people suspected it maybe, but that's what really propelled her career, is her taking that stance. So people see Ellen now, like the one that's putting viral kids on her show, the one that got Diddy and the checks. People know that Ellen. People forget that there's a whole nother era of Ellen that exists. And so I'm not saying Ellen's a racist. I don't know. I'm not, but I'm just not surprised that these claims that came out. And 4 years ago, again, I made it very clear that Ellen has a history of insensitive positions, in my opinion, and everybody wanted to dismiss it because Ellen's a lesbian that loves Black people. Mm-hmm. And that's literally was their definition of why we should give Ellen a pass. So,
let me tell you something. Nobody getting a pass.
Nobody.
I don't care if you look like me or not. Nobody getting a pass. Like, you know, nobody getting a pass. So then what do you guys think about certain celebrities, Kevin Hart and Tyrese, coming out and defending her, standing at her defense? Because I saw it as, again, I didn't read, like, Kevin Hart is not someone I take seriously, neither is Tyrese. No, not, you know, I can't.
What do you want from me?
What do you want me to do? Poor baby, he was struggling, child. He was struggling. But you know, I just I looked at it as like, I always have to remember celebrities. They are, again, they're regular people too. Like, just like the three of us are like friends, sisters, like they are too. Like they're just famous. So when Kevin Hart was coming out and saying like, "Oh, my friend Ellen," like a lot of people were getting mad, but that's his friend.
Is it?
Okay, I'm not here to judge their friendship, okay? But let's just say it is. Let's just say it is that they are.
You see Kevin Hart, let's be clear, you see the Hart family post a lot of pictures with celebrities over the years. They post a lot of pictures with celebrities. And I'm not talking about like at events, like on vacation, at their home having dinner. At this point, it's like, I feel like I know who the Hart's friends are. And so I ain't never seen Ellen in them pictures.
This is true, but they have worked together.
They what?
They have worked together.
On what? They may have. I'm asking seriously, on what?
Yeah, like on the show and stuff like that. And wasn't they doing some hosting thing together one time?
Business, okay.
I think just because you do business doesn't mean that you can't text outside of that. Text each other happy birthday, and you know, if I text you directly, maybe it's that I don't have to text your manager for you to come on my show. I can ask you directly, like, "Yo,
that's true."
Something like that.
That's
like
true.
They have at least a level of acquaintance. Yes,
celebrity friendships are different.
Yes, they are different. They are different. They are, because you want to be. I mean, you want to be caught up with the right people. I was gonna get into Meg, but I don't know if we got enough time for that today.
We actually were supposed to talk about Meg too.
We're supposed to talk about Meg.
Oh, maybe we did. Last recording.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes. Yes.
We already
okay, we covered. So that's what y'all will see. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. So
a mini episode, like a clip.
Yes.
I think we should definitely do clips. I like that episode.
No, we are definitely. So we got some stuff coming for y'all. Y'all see.
I just feel like people love being white women saviors, and this is why I question the friendship situation, because it's like, yes, they may be acquaintances, but acquaintance is enough where you make a statement. You know what I mean? How many other statements did you make about other Black friends you've had that's been in the limelight? And so it's like,
then the Nick Cannon thing came up.
And did Ellen make a statement about you, Kevin, when everybody was dragging you and ready to cancel you for your cheating scandals? I don't think so. I don't think so. And so I feel like, especially because you don't know what's going on. They're investigating. So how you going to stand for somebody you don't work for? It's her employees. Mind your business. Mind your business.
Like naturally you said.
I just feel like they be running to save white women. And I feel like the way people were so pressed to run to social media to defend Ellen, I ain't seen them run to defend nobody else. And I'm just like,
no, I didn't like that. I didn't care for it. I was just giving a different perspective.
I know.
A different perspective. You know, I'm not here for it either way. If the Ellen show goes off, I will not be sad. I would be sad if Game of Game goes on, because I think that's funny. But if her show goes off, I wouldn't be sad about it. Like, you know, I mean, say it again, Nature.
I never really watched.
Yeah, like it's not. I don't know. Like I try to like engage in Ellen content, but I do like the show. I think like, you know, I think she does great things on the show. I did watch her stand up once. Couldn't get through it. Couldn't get through it. I'm telling you, it's not. And I know white people and Black people have different humor, but
Laughing is laughing.
Wow, that was annoying. It was like an hour of her talking about coming out, and I'm like, we know.
What else?
What, like, and the thing is, your story of coming out is not funny. Like, it's not a comedy thing. It's like you said, it's something that propelled her career. So this is how the room was when I was watching it. That's how quiet it was. I was like,
well, I was like watching paint dry.
For real. I was like, and it's funny because I was watching it with my mom, and she got this much patience. So she was like, I'm done. I'm over this. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't find
it funny.
I find like certain interactions I find funny.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if her show is canceled, she had a good run.
Yeah.
She did.
She had an amazing run.
Ellen's been around for a long time, and I just feel like if we're gonna cancel Nick, I'm just saying,
Right.
why not cancel Ellen?
Right.
Just saying.
And again, like at the end of the day, these celebrities be people just like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that my mistakes and my flaws is not broadcasted. Well, most of them.
I just feel like,
broadcasted and liked a million times and shared a million times.
yeah.
You know, so
I just want fair treatment because I could care less if Ellen gets canceled or not. It's not like I'm sitting here. I mean, granted, again, not dismissing her employees' feelings, because if there really is abuse happening behind the scenes to employees, I would say I care about that, and you know that just should not exist. But I'm not sitting here like on a cancel Ellen campaign. But I'm just really big about holding celebrities accountable. I feel the same way about Oprah. Like, you know, I've said this countless times. You know, Oprah has done some really questionable stuff and people just ignore it. And I'm like, when public figures that we put on a pedestal just do things that may not even be aggressively or intentionally done to hurt people, but when they do things that just are not a good look or are a snub to a particular community, I think we should definitely hold them accountable for their actions. Same way I felt about Jay-Z taking that NFL deal. Still love J&B, but I thought it was messed up. Oprah being the executive producer on When They See Us, even though back in when it first happened, she was the one that interviewed the jogger. Like, I just feel like we need to hold people accountable. And so if we're going to sit there and strip Nick away of everything, and you know, where's the support for Nick that is for Ellen, or where's the support for Meg that is for Ellen? Just saying. So that's just how I feel about that. That's how I feel about it.
100%. 100%. But you know, celebrities gonna keep being celebrities, and they gonna keep giving us stuff to talk about, and we gonna talk about it.
And we're gonna talk about it. People are like, why you? Because I want to talk about it.
Somebody need to talk about it.
Exactly. They get paid. I just like to talk. Like, it was a win-win.
I'm doing what I like. Just like you doing what you like, I'm doing what I like. What's up?
Exactly. It's a conversation piece.
It is a conversation piece. So
that's that on that.
That's that on that. Period. Okay.
Do we have anything else on the agenda? Should we look at the notes?
I think if we look at the notes, we'll be on here for another hour. I think we're right at an hour. So I think we're good for here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Okay.
We'll be back with some more tea.
Oh, we will be back. Make sure you, I want to say like, comment, subscribe to the Shade Boulevard. Okay. THEE Shade BLVD. Okay.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Welcome to my YouTube channel. See my cup? Welcome to my new show.
My nails, my 2 nails will come off.
See, this is gonna be a different type of show because we're gonna be keeping it really real. You over there dropping stuff like the nails.
Dropping stuff, having to get up. It's so bad.
Oh, gosh. All right. So we can cut.
All right, y'all. And we're